Caribbean is often described as the most tourism-dependent region in the world. A Titan is described as one that stands out for greatness of achievement, one who is influential in his field. I'm Marlene Stevenson-Daly. Welcome to our podcast. We call it Jamaica's Tourism Titans. It's about the movers and shakers of the industry, men and women who have contributed to its growth and development in Jamaica, the region, and indeed the world. Welcome to Jamaica's Tourism Titans. It's a pleasure to have you, and wherever you're listening to us, we want to just give a big shout out to you at this time. Our guest for today is an innovator. She's accustomed to challenges, a wife, a mother, and a grandmother of all of 12 children. And she can be described as a woman for all seasons. She is a philanthropist by nature and is vivacious as ever. She's Marilyn Burrowes, formerly of Dolphin Cove. Howdy, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
It is so good to have you. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Dolphin Cove and where that idea came from. But before we do that, you are a Kingston girl.
Kingston, yes. Born and educated in Kingston.
Tell me about those early years.
Well, I went to Wolmer's High School, and I was never, I would say, academic. Mm-hmm. I did art. I studied with Judy Macmillan, and Barry Watson helped me. So I did art, and I did home economics at the time, which is basically cooking, which is I love and I've always enjoyed. And so when I left Wolmer's, I went straight into secretarial course. I did a secretarial course. Mm-hmm. And then got my first job. It was actually at University Hospital as a temporary affiliate.
Yes.
And then I moved to North American Life.
Insurance?
British American Life.
Okay.
And then North American Life.
Okay. And how did that go for you?
It went very, very well. I was in a pool of secretaries. Unfortunately, I met my husband-to-be, which I'd known from as a teenager growing up, and he joined the firm, and one of us had to resign. In those days, husband and wives could not work together.
Yes, not in the same organization.
No. So guess who did resign?
Of course.
I had to resign, but having said that, I've never been idle. Never. I can sew, I can cook, I can embroidery, and I studied flower arranging. And the people there knew I did it, and they would bring flowers and ask me to make arrangements. So when I had to resign, that's what I turned to.
So coming out of that job as secretary, you transitioned into your passion.
Yes, flowers. And
Tell us about that.
And we were, as I said, newly married, and I used to work under a lignum vitae tree on Tucker Avenue, and they would bring flowers for me, and I would arrange them. But in my time when I started, there were only 2 flower shops, Pat's Flower Shop, and I cannot remember the name of the English lady had a flower shop. But I traveled a lot, so I brought containers from the States. So that was my little niche of being different. Mm-hmm. And that's where it went from there to there.
So you actually started a flower shop, or your own flower shop?
No, not at that time.
Okay.
Not at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let me remember now. Eventually I did start Marilyn's Flower Shop.
And that was here in Kingston?
Here in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I would say I was maybe the only person had taken formal floral classes. So like Pat's Flower Shop, who had been there for ages and ages, she would ask me to come and show her how to make bouquets and the modern way.
Yes.
Yes. So.
Now, you left Jamaica, I believe, in the early 70s.
Yes,
Why did you go away? And where did you go?
At that time, we thought it best for the children that, and we went to Toronto, Canada. And because Stafford's parents had gotten papers at the time, and we thought it would be better to go there. However, at the time, I couldn't qualify to go health-wise.
What was happening?
I had hepatitis, and they couldn't diagnose how I got it because they assumed I got it from rat pee because I used to work in the garage and the wires to make my arrangements, wiring everything.
Yes.
I would stick it in my mouth to hold it.
Ah.
And that's it. And I was in hospital from December to May, and then I stayed in isolation at my parents' house for another month or so, and till eventually I was allowed to mix with my family.
Well, what was
very
the isolation
contagious.
like? I mean,
Horrible.
You had 3 young children at the
I
time?
had 3 young children at the time. It was horrible. They used to come and look at me from my parents' house because they had a bedroom downstairs and I could wave at them.
You mean just peek at you through the window
Windows,
and
yes,
hi,
and
Mom?
hi. And at Christmas, I missed a Christmas with them. It was terrible, terrible.
How does it present itself, though, the actual disease?
Your poo turns white and your pee turns black.
Are you very fatigued as well? You're weak?
I don't know that I ever felt that tired. No. And there's no cure for it. They only told me I had to eat a lot of candy, just eat candy. And then after it got better and I was allowed to leave, I had to burn everything I had touched, because it's very contagious.
It's highly contagious.
Highly contagious, yes.
Wow.
But as I said, St. Peter was not ready for me.
He gave you another chance.
Yes, give me another chance. He has something for me to do on this earth here.
Yes. So eventually you got better.
I got better and we moved to Toronto, Canada. Again, I think I've been blessed through life. We had a housekeeper that worked with us, worked within the family for 16 years. And when I was applying, because I knew I wasn't well, I applied for her. And she was granted Canadian status too.
Wonderful.
So she came with us. And she was like a mother. She was really like more of a grandmother to us. And she took the children everywhere. Santa Claus parade, everywhere. She was into everything. Everything.
Wonderful. Now, in Canada, what was that experience like? And how would that have prepared you for some of the things that you would have come back to Jamaica later on and accomplish?
I didn't want to go to Canada. I did not wish to go to Canada. My husband went ahead of me with a good friend of his and phoned me, Marilyn, I've rented a house and it has a lovely dining room table in it. I said, good for you.
The dining room table is supposed to entice you because you have space to do flowers.
And then eventually he got his sister to force me on the plane to get me there. But I left Jamaica, literally, with the 3 children and the nanny, only with the clothes on their back and a suitcase each, nothing else. I closed my front door and left. My sister never ever left. Her husband was involved with the university hospital, the professor there. She stayed and she had the job to tidy up and rent it out and do that, my sister. But and one child had on 2 left feet because they all wear the same size clothes. They're all the same size. One is 11 months and one is a year apart. So they all wore the same size. They're all the same size. The first 3.
Did you get back into flowers when you...
Well, for the first year,
into Canada.
To be true, I grew up in Canada. I grew up in Canada. For the first year, I sat and cried my heart out. I hated it. So my husband decided the best thing for me to do was to go and work. So I got a job in a flower shop.
Ah. That would have been a nice...
So it was nice.
Blend,
Except I learned a lot. If you were late, you had half an hour for lunch, and if you were late, it was deducted from your salary. And flowers you're supposed to stand up and do arranging the flowers. So I wasn't allowed to couch on a stool. And I did. I asked if I had back problems. But it was a wonderful experience.
And were you able to get into your own flowers business in Canada? How did that morph?
Somehow we met some Canadians in Montego Bay who was friendly with some friends in Montego Bay who had a flower shop in Canada. And they wanted to come to Jamaica. So we did a swap.
So
So they came here, and they're still here. And I went to Canada and took their place.
and ran that business there.
And ran that business. And it developed and it developed. As you said, we opened 6 branches because other people from Jamaica had come with flower business. So we had managers to help us along the way.
Great. Now, what prompted your return to Jamaica? And when did you come back? Because by then you should have gotten over the homesick.
No. And I didn't want to
all of
come
that.
back. I didn't want to come back. Life is funny.
You didn't want to go
come back. My husband.
and then you didn't want to come back.
One day my husband got a call from one of the boys. There's a day in Canada, everybody throws out their old stuff and garbage. And he read, Daddy, bring the flower van. I'm picking up a TV and some furniture. So my child is scavenging in garbage. And he said, you know what? It's time for me to retire and go on the mango tree, coconut palm tree. So that's why we came back. Eventually we came back. But I had one of my children are born in Canada. The youngest is born in Canada.
Okay.
He's Canadian.
All right. So you came back to Jamaica in
approximately 92.
82?
82.
1982.
Yes.
So tell me about this Dolphin Cove thing.
Before
now.
Dolphin Cove, though, when we came back to Jamaica, I saw a niche. People used to have to get foreign goods and a license to get it. So I opened a business called To Market, the New Kingston Shopping Centre, a deli, which was my dream to have desserts. And I used to make all my own ice cream.
Yes, because that was part of what you enjoyed as a young
That's what I enjoyed. So
lady.
I did that.
Yes.
While doing that, we were hunting around for something. Stafford was hunting around for something to do. But he only wanted to do something where he could earn US dollars. So we used to drive around on a weekend and we call it big house peeping. We used to go looking at all the great houses and stuff. And we came across this little cottage on the sea, which is too cool, where Dolphin Cove is presently. And we hunted down the attorney, the
owners.
The owners through his attorney. And he said to us, he owned a big house on top of Shaw Park. This was his beach cottage. And he said, well, you can buy it. I said, but we have no money to buy it. So
This is too cool.
This is too cool.
Right. And
So
that's too cool.
That's too cool. So he went and met the owner. And he said, son, you take it because I'm not coming back to Jamaica. In fact, he had a design, Carinosa was what he had wanted to do along that strip. But he wanted to move Lansdowne. And Lansdowne is a landmark.
Yes.
Is a landmark. So that's our savior. So he allowed us to live. So we were living there on Stafford. You say, what can we do? What can we do? What is it Jamaica doesn't have? So we went a couple places. And we said, let us try the dolphins. Of course, that was the hardest challenge out. But we overcame it.
Why did you decide on dolphins?
Because nobody had it in Jamaica. Okay. And apparently, we didn't know at the time, some people had come to try and get it at Pearly Beach. But it wasn't a suitable location, so they were denied.
Because what kinds of conditions are ideal for dolphins? The water
depth
has
of the
to
water,
be,
and the water has to be fairly clean. And
yes.
Too cool is named Too Cool for a reason. It has a lot of underground water coming out from the rocks. It's always, if you look on the hills, you'll see water coming in.
And these are from underground aquifers that are servicing that area, so the water is always pristine.
Yes, and the water we used to drink there, we used to put it in a tank and drink it. It is pure. Pure water. It was tested and everything. It's good water. Good water.
All right. So it started as
just as a dream, and we used to go and look at other dolphin parks and dolphin attractions. And one day we were at one, and we'd just gone from the airport, and those old time days you carried a big briefcase, so we paid to go in to watch. And the owner saw us and came down and said, "You're not here to swim with the dolphins." And then he came, our very good friend, and helped us.
Yes.
We invited him to come and stay with us, and he did, and helped us in knowing what to do.
So this is like starting, innovating something in your backyard.
Yes.
Not the yard, but the front
yard.
Not the backyard.
Front yard, yes.
Yes, the front yard. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the challenges that you encountered in terms of, just getting things together, because this is always a process. It's something new, it's something different for Jamaica, and it has become such a signature attraction. But we're going to take a little break. We're talking with Marilyn Burrowes, our very special guest on today's Jamaica's Tourism Titans. Soon come.
In tourism, the people are the product. Yes, they are one of our industry's most important assets. They help create memorable lifetime experiences. They, through their service, make the difference. We share the stories of their challenges and triumphs, of what makes them tick, of who they really are, just to inspire you to act positively. You too can be an ambassador for tourism and our country and become a Jamaican tourism titan. Start today.
TPDCo's Explore Jamaica has insights into licensed tourism entities across Jamaica. Visit the Google or Apple Play Store and download the app today. Welcome back to Jamaica's Tourism Titans. Our special guest today is the co-conceptualizer of Dolphin Cove, which has become one of our iconic attractions here in Jamaica. She is Marilyn Burrowes. And just before we took the break, we were talking about Too Cool, which is the original home of the Dolphin Cove. So, how difficult was it? What were some of the challenges and the hurdles that you had to overcome in order to actually get this wonderful attraction that so many people want to go to open?
That's so good a question. There were many, many challenges because, first of all, Dolphins to Jamaica was a new thing. And then the environmentalists took it on. So we had them. We had many challenges from them.
Yes.
And dolphins are very friendly. If you jump in the sea and there are dolphins around, they're not coming to hurt you, they're coming to play with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, playing can be rough if they're not under supervision.
Yes.
That was one of them, but what was fortunate was our home, Too Cool, the location was ideal. The depth was good. The water was clear, clean, and it needed very little, just the enclosure to enclose so that prevent the heavy seas from coming in. And where we are, we don't get any of the garbage that flows because of the current that passes us. So it was an idea. It was meant to be there.
You served as the Marketing and Public Relations Director for several years, and you were also able to expand Dolphin Cove. So it's not just at Too Cool in the Ocherius Resort, but you're now down in Lucy. And tell us about the expansion. How did that growth come about?
The expansion at Moon Palace was almost a natural because Moon Palace in other countries have dolphins. So that was almost a natural. And in Lucy, the harbour we built was the second biggest in the world for dolphins, so the space they had was there. Tourism down in Lucy is challenging for the hotels because time has moved on, and I think the traffic once you get into Negril to get over to Lucy is challenging.
A little challenge.
Is challenge. We still get business there and we still do business there, but not like Ocherius.
Ocherius
has never done better, let me put it that way. I think not only tourist foreigners, but Jamaicans.
Yes,
remember, COVID is over. They're free now to get out and do something and want to do something. So they are booming.
Yes. And as a complement to that, you have the Yaman Adventure Park.
That's correct.
What are some of the features there?
That Yaman Adventure Park has a history
Tell us.
because I fought for it. The board of directors didn't want it because it was losing money. I said, okay. And when I put my own money to make it profitable,
Yes.
then they bought it back from me. And now it's extremely successful as well.
Yes.
But it is a fabulous property.
You know, it's funny. I send people all the time there, but I've never been.
Well, you
so
have to
tell me
go.
about the features of Yaman Adventure Park.
They have the mud buggies, the ATVs. But what is exciting for me is the river. Because the head of the river, Prospect, was the start of the electricity in Jamaica. The hub is there for JPS.
Okay.
And they were supposed to get electricity for life, free, because that started there.
Yes.
So that is where the river is, the river experience. Which
So
is,
you can do things
is
like
it like
river
a-
tubing and
No, they have a hole, like a swimming hole.
Yes,
And they can dive. They put a little zip line that you can zip line, and your bottom goes through the water. It's different.
All
It's
right,
different.
So
It's
we'll
very,
have to
very
visit
nice.
Yaman Adventure Park. We haven't
They had
been.
horses, which they didn't want anymore. So I have horses on my farm. I'm a ex-rider, horse rider.
An ex-horse rider.
My husband is afraid of horses, so I don't ride very much again.
Oh, boy. Now, you know, Dolphin Cove has received so many awards over the years. World Travel Award, the St. Anne Chamber of Commerce Business Award. You've been nominated as Jamaica Business Leader Award and won.
And one.
Tourism Service Excellence Award, the Bureau of Standards, which is a very important one because this now speaks to the quality of the product, and that's a National Quality Award. And named Attraction of the Year for 2010 by the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association. Those are quite big accomplishments.
And I'm very, very proud of them. You know, my husband and I have always worked together. He does the money part, and I do the labor part, put it that way. Because to me, money is not an issue.
Yes.
And he works it out, makes sure
That
where
it's
it's
profitable,
Yes.
And that even saw Dolphin Cove having a
Exactly.
public issue.
That's right.
And going public. So it's owned by not just yourself and your husband or family, but by
many Jamaicans. And
Jamaicans
when we were going public, they had first choice.
all
All of
across
them, so
Jamaica.
yes,
Persons
yes,
have a
yes.
little piece
That's right.
of Dolphin Cove.
And I would recommend that they keep it. They pay their dividends.
Oh boy.
Boy.
Now that's important.
Yes.
Now, you've also been involved in philanthropy, and you know you've worked with the community, and have given back. Tell me a little bit about
I believe
that.
strongly in that. A young lady walked into Dolphin Cove one day. Young lady, bright, and she was walking house to house. And when she showed us her qualifications and she had gotten into a big university in the States, we gave her that scholarship. Prior to COVID, which I'm about now getting back into it because I've had challenges with my husband's sickness, but that's okay. We ran the football league in Limehall. And we had just started on a young one when COVID came. But we have the trophies, Dolphin Cove trophies, and we used to do the football. And Stairtown Basic School is my baby. I took it over from Dolphin Cove, my baby. And I just read in the Gleaner where Sandals went there recently and did it up, so I'm so happy.
Yes.
But I deal a lot with the teachers and the children. And, you know, Christmas time I made them all write a letter to Santa.
With their wishes?
With their wishes.
Oh
3
boy, I must write a letter to Santa this Christmas too.
But you know, the one,
and drop it in the box.
the one that really made me shed a tear, she says, I would love to have a Christmas tree in my home.
Oh.
Isn't that sad to think that we don't know what other
Yes.
people don't have?
Yes, that's
you know,
true.
and
It's something as simple as
and you
a
would
little
not
Christmas
think
tree.
about that.
Yes.
There's a one iPad and phone and stuff. This
Yes.
little girl wanted a Christmas tree.
It's important.
So
in
I
terms
work
of-
with them for the back to school, the Christmas treats, Easter tree, Easter treats whenever. And we'll go back. We've built toilets for them, bathrooms for them, classrooms. But as I said, I've taken a gap from COVID to now, and I've had personal challenges at home.
What has your experience at Dolphin Cove taught you?
What has it taught me? First of all, it taught me that I had to listen to a board of directors. So I wasn't on my free own to do as I please.
Yes.
I think that's the first time I've ever had to report to a board, right? And it's learning. We ran and operated Dolphin Cove as a family. Always. Everybody was our family. And it just taught us how good people can be, given the opportunity, and that everybody is capable of learning. I mean, to find somebody in St. Anne that could swim when we first opened was a challenge.
Because unfortunately, we are surrounded by water, but a lot of our people don't know how to swim.
And it's amazing, the school children that come there, some of them think the ocean is a big river. So my joy was educating and exposing to a lot of the children that would never have that opportunity. We also did a lot of work with the Father Houlongs.
And friends, yes.
Father Houlong and friends. We hosted, I used to hold them, then I had to restrict them because they would come like 200-300 at a time. I said, no, more, no. I can take them 10 times or 100 each time.
Yes.
You know, so.
One of the things that I think is so important is that companies, businesses understand their corporate social responsibility. You're in a community, you're benefiting from the community, and it's so important to complement the community. We're not saying that you should give all of your profits, but
no, but you have to help where help is given.
Yes.
Right? We do a lot of that undercover.
Yes.
We're not both my husband and I, we're not looking for any recognition or any rewards, or, you know.
What inspires Marilyn Burrowes?
What inspires me?
Yes.
To get up and that I wake up every morning, first of all, it inspires me that I'm there to make what can I do today to make it better for someone else. That's what inspires. I have, right now I'm looking to refurbish a house for some, we can't get workers on the farm. So I'm building a house for them. We're just discussing it.
To be able to stay on.
Yes. So that really, I think that inspires me. What inspires me is...
There is another challenge on the horizon. So you've started Dolphin Cove, you expanded it, you put it on the public issue, and you are semi-retired.
I'm retired.
You're retired?
I'm retired from Dolphin Cove.
You're retired from Dolphin Cove. But now you've gone on to another challenge. So I want you to share with us a little bit about this blackberry cultivation farm. I mean, I'm not thinking of blackberries in Jamaica. Earlier, we spoke in our last episode with Glenn Bromfield, and he spoke about going from straw to strawberries, and now I'm hearing about blackberries. So tell me about this blackberry cultivation and this farm to table experience that you're working on.
We acquired Winefield by default because we had made an offer on the property next door because we always wanted a farm. My husband loves the earth. He likes to plant.
And you love horses.
So we found this property called Carton, which we then purpose-built as a retirement home. And there again, you learn as you go. The house is built as a retirement home, but we didn't realize there's no hospital nearby and people want their retirement there.
Yes, you need to be within reasonable proximity to healthcare.
That's correct. Well, we have the doctors and the nurses all there, but no hospital. So we learned that lesson. So what will happen next? I don't know about that. Then we got the owner of Winefield, which is my home away from home, and it's mine because my husband cannot touch it or sell it. The owner had passed, And the executor knew, so called us. So we went, and I never even went inside.
You knew you were going to
just to see it.
acquire.
Yes. And she was a lady from Guatemala who ran that property basically on her own. And she had these blackberries, but they have prickles on them. But every year you cut them down and they give us lots and lots of blackberries. But I did apply for the new varieties which have no prickles.
No prickles, yes.
But the Minister of Agriculture didn't realize we had blackberries in Jamaica.
Well, I must admit that I didn't realize that we had blackberries in Jamaica either. I know we have strawberries because you have some of the cooler areas up in the Blue Mountain and that sort of thing up in Mandeville, and you do have people farming strawberries. But blackberries, I didn't know that one.
Yes, and that's good. So maybe eventually we'll expand with the newer varieties. But maybe the prickles are a blessing. Nobody wants to come and steal them.
But you have other things like, small husbandry.
Yes, I have sheep, which I love. Goats, I do not like. And I have rabbits and quails. And I had guinea pigs. Okay. And I had peacocks, but I'm about to replenish my peacocks I don't know what happened to them.
So what is the dream for that space now? Tell me about that.
That space, to make it my family home. I've had my Christmas dinners. I've had my family's birthday. My niece got married there. It's a home for family and friends, and I'm going to have picnics up there.
Yes.
And
so if I wanted at some point, maybe down the road, to have a little reception or something,
beautiful there, and we have just completing our Jamaica Tourist Board license, so we have built a kitchen. She's wrapping up. Which we have built a kitchen outside of the house, so you won't wear out the house. So we have a kitchen and a pantry to serve for events and parties.
All right. Well, that's another innovation in the making. Blackberries, hopefully, included.
Yes.
And, you have served, for example, on TPDCO's board for several years. You've also served as the president of the Attractions Association.
Yes.
That's the Association of Jamaican Attractions.
Which I'm still
Limited.
there now, but I'm about to call a AGM into. Yes, TBDCO, how long? Many years. From 2001, I would say, or 2000.
That's as long as you have been on
the
TPDCO's board.
And I'm now on the UDC board.
That's a good long stretch and a contribution worth celebrating.
And I must say I'm a justice of the peace.
For your parish of St. Anne.
For St. Anne. And I do my duty to go to court 3 times a year.
At least 3 times per year.
But I'm called, yes.
Yes. Well, Marilyn, we want to thank you for sharing your story with us today. And we just want to wish you all the best with this new project. We hope it will get off the ground in short order. And TPDCO is there to hold hand.
No, I want to thank you very, very much for having me. I want to thank our minister for bringing all these tourists to Jamaica, so that hopefully my tour will be successful as well. Yes. And for everybody that has helped me along the way, so.
Call a few names, quick.
Minister of Tourism has really helped me. Karen McDonald-Riley has really been, has held my hand in the early days right along the way. Everybody there, really.
All right. She doesn't want to run the risk of leaving anybody out.
Yes. Everybody. Everybody.
Yes.
The permanent secretary, Jennifer Griffiths, the permanent secretary, she had a lot to do with Dolphin Cove in the early days. Yes, she had a lot to help with. She was very helpful.
Yes. Thank you so much. It has really been a pleasure. And I've learned a bit too. Yes. And I will probably close by saying you can get yourself some of those Dolphin Cove shares.
Yes. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Get them. Yes, know. I've never sold mine. I kept mine.
Wonderful. All the very best. And thanks again for joining us on Jamaica's Tourism Titans.
Thank you very, very much.
All right, and that's it for today's episode of Jamaica's Tourism Titans. See you next time. Thank you so much for listening to Tourism Titans. We welcome your feedback at letusknow@tpdco.org. Leave us a comment, share, like, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TPDCOJA. I'm Marlene Stevenson Daly. See you soon.